Now, first of all, I think we are good bosses.
But we're not Bahama bosses.
And as many like fake rants as I have been released on the internet, which literally every single time we do this, at least 14% of the audience thinks that it was legitimate. And then another 14% of the audience thinks that, oh, well, this is probably how he actually really is. You can ask any mythical employee. We have never yelled at any of our employees under any circumstances in the decade or so that we've had a big team. But
I probably have. Have I
yelled at somebody?
I've not. I don't really.
That's never happened.
No,
the only person I've ever yelled at on the job,
right,
is that guy on the
Just Being Honest.
Just Being Honest the Wendy's shoot.
Yeah, and
the only time I've ever yelled at. I don't yell at people.
He's what they call a day player. He was
much at all.
He was a contract laborer, and he was not doing what he was contracted to do. But his ass was hanging out. I will tell you that.
Yeah. Should I tell that story quickly?
Sure.
So
you should.
We were working on that video, the Just Being Honest, and if you recall how that music video works, there is like a projected environment behind us, and the camera is swish panning between these two environments. And the original plan was that there would be some sort of technology where the camera
filming us in front of the
could
screen.
basically, the camera could move, and then the perspective that you see on the background, so this is like Mandalorian type stuff, would actually be in sync with the camera so that it feels like a much more immersive environment versus just a rear projection environment like we did on the Techspert video.
Like the environment being projected on the screen, the parallax would change.
Yeah.
The angles would change when the camera would move filming us, so it would really be immersive.
And this was a big job. This was a corporate, like Wendy's was paying us to do this. The ad agency for Wendy's, like major ad agency, is actually going to be there, and they were scheduled to show up at a certain time when we were getting ready to actually shoot. But of course, we got there really early. We're setting things up. We're trying things out, and this guy who said that he could do this had been a little bit wishy-washy in the days leading up to it. But he was like, oh, "Yeah, I can do it." Long story short is,
hours and hours.
An hour or two passed, and he was having technical difficulties, and we would check in with him, or Stevie would check in with him, and he would say, I've got it, I'm gonna do it, it's gonna be fine, I'm gonna have it. And every single time we would check in, like, yeah, another 15 minutes or whatever. No, another 15 minutes, and this client is getting closer and closer to get here. And yes,
the boiling point was raising.
He was bending over the whole time, and 4 to 6 inches of his ass crack were just hanging out the whole time. And that's not why I got mad at him, okay? And I didn't even reference that in my rant.
It didn't help.
But it was highly unprofessional. What he needed to tell us is that he was not going to be able to do it so that we could move on, get things in place. And I just snapped. And I don't think it wasn't, I think the loudest I got was, there's a group of people here and we have been waiting, blah, blah, like this. And I said, and you keep telling us you're gonna get this fucking thing to work. I dropped the F-bomb, and that was, that's like 8-9 years ago. Like I don't drop the F-bomb in public very often at all, but I was like, I need a strategically placed curse word to communicate this. And like after the rant, like everybody was very quiet. He sort of like sheepishly, his ass was still hanging out, but he sheepishly just sort of like said, okay. And then we moved, he admitted that he could not solve the problem. He was not going to solve the problem. And we moved on. And that's why in the video, it's just rear projection. And it ended up being fine.
Me over there on the side, I was just like,
and I've never done that, and I don't want to do that. And that's the only time where it felt like, bro, somebody's got to call you out on this.
Yeah, I've never yelled at anybody. Definitely not like that.
And I wouldn't.
I thought it was hilarious.
I wouldn't yell at one of our actual mythical people like that,
Oh yeah.
I would pull them aside, but he was just he was next level.
Should have pulled it aside. It should have been a private meeting.
You think so?
A private meeting. Yeah. You didn't have to bring shame into it.
Well, okay. If I had to do it again, I would have grabbed him by his underwear, pulled him up in the process. moved him into the hallway.